not here to chase love. You are not here to beg for acceptance. You are here to remember your worth, stand tall in your truth, and radiate the energy of someone who already knows they are the one being sought. Because the truth is, when you live as if you're already the one, the world begins to treat you that way too. What would shift in your energy if you truly believed that the love you desire, the recognition you crave, the connection you long for was already looking for you? Most people walk through life feeling like they're not enough. They wait to be chosen, wait to be noticed, wait to be valued. But waiting keeps you stuck in a story of lack. It places your worth in someone else's hands, making your happiness conditional on what someone else decides. You don't need to wait. You don't need to chase. You don't need to convince anyone to love you. Instead, what if you stepped into the energy of someone who already knows, I am the one they are looking for? Because you are. You were never meant to shrink to be loved. You were never meant to dull your light so others could shine. You were never meant to beg for what your soul naturally deserves. You came into this life as a radiant being, whole, worthy, powerful. Somewhere along the way, life may have made you forget. But forgetting doesn't mean it's no longer true. The truth is still alive within you, waiting to be remembered. So today, I invite you to live from that remembrance. Walk as if the universe is already aligning people who are searching for your exact energy. Speak as if your voice is filled with truth. Look in the mirror as if you are gazing at the very person someone else has been praying to meet. Because you are. And when you begin to embody that energy, the world around you starts to shift in response. No more questioning if you're good enough. No more asking why they didn't choose you. No more bending yourself just to fit into someone else's broken mold. The moment you decide to stop proving yourself, you create space to simply be yourself. And that is the version of you that magnetizes love, opportunity, and peace. To live as if you're already the one they seek means you stop asking for permission to feel worthy. You stop looking to others for approval. You stop doubting your beauty, your heart, your presence. Instead, you recognize that your very existence is your qualification. You are here, you are breathing, you are enough. That is more than enough. Living this way doesn't make you arrogant. It makes you whole. It doesn't shut out love. It calls it in from the most authentic place. Because true love, real recognition, lasting connection, they don't come when you perform or pretend. They come when you show up as your truest, rawest, most self-honoring self. And that version of you doesn't have to try so hard. They are. Imagine what it would feel like to love yourself so deeply you no longer needed anyone else to complete you. Imagine trusting life so much that you no longer chased because you knew everything meant for you would find its way. Imagine waking up each morning with the quiet confidence that you are not waiting to be found. You are already seen, already known, already loved by yourself first. And when you live that truth, others feel it. The right people feel it. You don't have to speak louder to be heard. You don't have to chase to be seen. Your energy does the work for you. Your alignment becomes your magnet. And the people who are truly meant for you will recognize you not because you reached out, but because you reached within. Let that be your practice. Reach within. Every time you feel unworthy, return to your truth. Every time someone makes you feel small, remember your light. Every time doubt creeps in, speak to yourself with kindness. Remind yourself, I am the one. I am not incomplete. I am not forgotten. I am not unlovable. I am the one I have been waiting for, and by honoring myself, I become the one others have been searching for too. Your worth is not up for debate. Your light is not dependent on someone else's recognition. Your value doesn't fluctuate based on who stays or who leaves. You are constant, you are grounded, you are already the one. So live like it, love like it, speak like it, dress like it, move through this world like you are not just hoping to be loved, but already radiating it from within. You don't need to do more. You just need to be more of yourself. And when you do that, everything you've ever wanted begins to find you, because you are already the one they seek. You always have been. Release the need for validation. Let go of the craving for approval. Free yourself from the constant desire to be seen, acknowledged, and accepted by others. You were not born to live according to someone else's expectations. You were not placed on this earth to shrink yourself just to make others comfortable. You came here to express your soul, to shine your light, and to live your truth, boldly, unapologetically, and fully. So many of us spend our lives trying to be enough in the eyes of others. We seek praise, attention, admiration. We post, we perform, we please, hoping someone will notice, hoping someone will say, "You're doing it right, you're enough." But what happens when the validation doesn't come? Or when it comes and still doesn't fill the emptiness inside? That's because no amount of external validation can ever substitute for internal approval. No applause will ever be louder than the voice inside that says, "I love you exactly as you are." You don't need to prove your worth. You don't need to justify your dreams. You don't need to explain your choices to anyone who isn't walking in your shoes. When you live for other people's approval, you hand over your power. You become a prisoner to their opinions, and your joy becomes conditional. But when you release that need, you return home to yourself. You begin to live from the inside out, not the outside in. Releasing the need for validation is not about shutting people out. It's not about arrogance or isolation. It's about knowing who you are without needing someone else to confirm it for you. It's about being so grounded in your truth that praise doesn't inflate you and criticism doesn't deflate you. You remain centered, unshaken, rooted in self-love. The approval you truly need is your own eyes seeing your beauty, your own heart accepting your path, your own voice affirming your decisions. Others may come and go, offer support or withdraw it, praise you one day and question you the next. But you must remain constant. You must be the steady voice within that says, "I am proud of who I'm becoming." The most powerful people are not the loudest. They are not the ones with the biggest followings or the most applause. The most powerful people are the ones who have learned to validate themselves. They do not chase approval because they already approve of themselves. They speak their truth even when it's unpopular. They stand in their light even when no one is clapping. They know who they are, and that is enough. You don't need validation to pursue your dreams. You don't need a cheering crowd to start healing. You don't need anyone's permission to be who you are. The love you seek, the acceptance you crave, the encouragement you long for, begin giving that to yourself right now. Speak kindly to yourself. Acknowledge your efforts. Celebrate your small wins. Be your own greatest supporter. If you're always waiting for others to validate your worth, you'll never feel free. You'll constantly adjust yourself to fit into other people's molds. But the moment you say, "I approve of myself," you unlock a new kind of freedom. You stop waiting to be picked. You stop auditioning for love. You stop dimming your light for people who are afraid of your brilliance. You are already worthy. You are already beautiful. You are already doing better than you think. The world may not always recognize it, but your soul does, and that's what matters most. Every time you choose to trust yourself, you strengthen your foundation. Every time you act in alignment with your truth, you reclaim your inner authority. Every time you say, I choose myself, you reclaim your power. It's okay if not everyone understands you. It's okay if people don't agree with your journey. It's okay if some don't see your light. The ones who are meant for you will feel you. They will recognize your authenticity because it matches their own. But even if they don't, you will still be enough. You will still be worthy. You will still belong to yourself. The need for validation may have served you once. It may have helped you survive. But now it's time to thrive. And thriving means living for your soul, not for their approval. Let today be the day you decide, I will no longer wait to be chosen. I choose myself. Every day you send a message to the world about how you see yourself. Before a word is spoken, your energy introduces you. And that energy is shaped by how you carry yourself, how you speak to yourself, and how you show up for your life. When you begin to embody the truth that you are already the prize, everything begins to change, not because you're better than anyone, but because you finally remember your worth. You don't need to wait until someone validates you to start showing up confidently. You don't need to wait until you have the perfect partner, the perfect job, or the perfect body to walk like you matter. You matter now. You are already valuable. And when you believe that, your presence becomes magnetic. You stop chasing, and instead you start attracting. Dressing like you are the prize doesn't mean dressing to impress others. It means adorning yourself in a way that honors who you are. It means waking up and asking, what makes me feel radiant today? What colors express my joy? What outfit makes me feel powerful, graceful, alive? Dressing like the prize means you dress for you, not to win approval. You choose clothes that elevate your confidence, align with your essence, and reflect yourself. You don't wear anything that doesn't feel like love. You don't shrink into fashion to disappear. You dress to declare, I am here. I am worthy of beauty. I honor myself in every detail. And then there is the walk. How you move tells a story. When you walk like you are the prize, you walk with presence. You walk with purpose. You don't rush to please, and you don't shrink in discomfort. You claim your space gracefully, silently, powerfully. Your posture becomes an affirmation. Head held high, shoulders back, eyes forward. Your steps say, I know who I am. I belong here. And it's not about arrogance, it's about alignment. When you are aligned with your worth, your walk becomes calm. There is no desperation, no need to prove. You are no longer running after things that were never meant for you. You move at your own pace. You trust the timing of your life. Now, let's talk about how you speak. Words carry energy. When you speak like you are the prize, you speak with intention. You do not gossip, beg, or belittle. You do not talk down to yourself or inflate your pain to gain sympathy. Instead, you speak life into yourself. You use words that empower, uplift, and affirm. You no longer say, I'm sorry for being me. You say, thank you for seeing me. You no longer ask, am I enough? You declare, I am more than enough. You stop apologizing for your existence and start honoring your presence. You speak like someone who knows that what they have to say is worth hearing. And when others speak, you listen, not to react, but to understand. You are not afraid of silence. You are not afraid of truth. You are not afraid to say no when something doesn't feel aligned. Because speaking like the prize means having boundaries. It means you no longer tolerate being treated as optional when your soul knows you are essential. This way of being doesn't come from ego. It comes from healing. It comes from no longer needing to chase what you used to beg for. It comes from realizing you are no longer the version of yourself who tolerated crumbs. You are no longer in survival mode. You are thriving, you are choosing, you are becoming. The prize energy is not loud, it's not boastful, it's calm, it's quiet, it's undeniable. It says, I am here, I am whole, I am not looking to be completed, I am already full, and from that fullness, you naturally attract what matches your vibration. Not people who want to fix you, but people who celebrate you. Not situations that drain you, but ones that pour into you. So when you dress, do it with love. When you walk, do it with grace. When you speak, do it with power. Let your entire being say, I know my value. I do not trace. I attract. I do not shrink. I expand. I am not waiting to be chosen. I have already chosen myself. Because you are not seeking to become the prize. You already are. And the moment you live like it, the world will respond accordingly. Attract rather than chase. Let this become your quiet power, your new way of being, your guiding truth. You were never meant to run after anything. Not love, not attention, not success. You were created to be a magnet for all that is meant for you. And when you live in alignment with your worth, your energy begins to draw in exactly what your heart desires. Without force, without desperation, without chasing. Chasing creates imbalance. It says, I am not enough unless I have this. It puts you in a state of lack, of need, of grasping. It pushes the things you want further away because desperation repels. When you chase, you abandon yourself for the hope of being chosen. But when you attract, you remain rooted in your own value, trusting that what is meant for you will always find its way. Attracting is a state of inner peace. It's not passive. It's powerful. It means you become a vibrational match for the life you want. You don't sit and wish. You align, you embody, you live as if it is already yours. You raise your frequency, not by striving harder, but by becoming softer, calmer, more connected to your truth. You no longer ask, when will it come? You whisper, I am ready. You attract love not by convincing someone to choose you, but by loving yourself so deeply that only those who match your love can enter. You no longer pursue people who don't see your worth. You no longer beg to be noticed. Instead, you show up as love, as light, as the highest version of yourself. And from that space, you draw in those who recognize your radiance. You attract opportunities not by overworking yourself to exhaustion, but by knowing that your gifts are valuable, your presence is impactful, and your purpose is magnetic. You focus on becoming, on healing, on growing, on doing what you love, not because it will bring results, but because it aligns with your soul. And ironically, when you stop forcing things to happen, they start to unfold effortlessly. Now let go of the chase. Let go of the fear that tells you you're running out of time. Let go of the belief that you have to fight for what you want. What is truly yours will not require you to suffer for it. What is meant for you will flow to you with grace, not pain. The universe is not withholding from you. It is waiting for you to remember your power. Attracting means saying no to anything that feels like begging. It means choosing your peace over your ego. It means trusting the pauses, the quiet moments, the space between what you want and when it arrives. It's not always easy, but it is always worth it. Because in that space you become, you align, you rise. You don't need to force anyone to stay in your life. If they walk away, bless them and let them go. If you have to chase them, they're not meant for the level you're stepping into. Real love, real respect, real connection doesn't require you to lose yourself. It meets you where you are. It sees you, values you, and chooses you, without games, without doubt. And this truth extends to every area of your life. You attract abundance by believing you are worthy of it. You attract health by listening to your body and honoring it. You attract peace by removing yourself from chaos. You attract your future not by running after it, but by being it. Right here, right now. Be so full of your own light that others feel it before you speak. Be so secure in your journey that rejection doesn't shake you. Be so aligned with your higher self that you no longer need to convince anyone of your worth. That is the power of attraction. That is the beauty of letting go of the chase. When you stop chasing, you free yourself. You return home to your center. You remember that you are already whole, already deserving, already loved. And from that place, miracles unfold. Not because you demanded them, but because you finally became the space for them to arrive. So breathe. Relax into the truth that you are enough. You don't need to run. You don't need to prove. You don't need to earn what was already yours. You only need to be. Because when you are aligned, you attract. When you are peaceful, you receive. And when you are whole, everything you've ever chased begins to find you. Somewhere along the way, you forgot your power, not because you are weak, but because life has a way of covering your light with layers of pain, fear, and self-doubt. Maybe someone told you that you weren't enough. Maybe life broke your heart and you never fully recovered. Maybe you learned to survive instead of thrive. But underneath it all, your power is still there, quiet, steady, waiting for you to remember. To truly move forward, you must go back, not to relive the pain, but to heal the parts of you that learned to dim your light just to feel accepted. Healing isn't about blaming the past. It's about finally choosing to stop letting it control you. It's about giving yourself the love you needed but never received. It's about recognizing the moments you abandon yourself just to belong, and then gently returning to who you were before the world convinced you to be someone else. Your power was never lost. It was only buried. Buried beneath the words that made you feel small, beneath the rejection that made you question your worth, beneath the silence you swallowed when your voice trembled with truth. But now, it's time to heal what made you forget. It's time to reclaim what was always yours. Begin by honoring the wounded parts of you, the parts that were forced to grow up too fast, the parts that learned to stay silent to keep the peace, the parts that believed love had to be earned through sacrifice. Sit with those pieces. Listen to their stories. Not to stay stuck, but to release the burden they've carried for far too long. You don't have to fix everything at once. Healing happens in layers. Sometimes it looks like crying over something you thought you already got over. Sometimes it looks like setting a boundary and feeling guilty for it. Sometimes it means walking away from people who once felt like home. And sometimes healing means simply resting. allowing your nervous system to exhale for the first time in years. Be gentle with yourself. You are not broken. You are healing. You are unlearning the lies that made you forget your magic. Every time you choose peace over people-pleasing, every time you speak up instead of staying silent, every time you show up for yourself, you remember your power. Forgive yourself for the times you didn't know better. Forgive yourself for the ways you tried to cope when life felt unbearable. You were doing the best you could with what you had. Now you know more. Now you are ready to rise. Speak to yourself with kindness. Say, I forgive you. I'm proud of you. I still believe in you. These simple words, repeated with love, can rebuild what pain tried to destroy. Your power returns in whispers, not shouts, in quiet moments of truth, in everyday choices that say, I deserve more. I am enough. I matter. Let go of the need to prove anything. You don't need anyone's permission to feel whole again. You don't need validation to shine. Your power doesn't depend on being liked, approved of, or chosen by others. It depends on you choosing you every single day. The world taught you that strength meant being tough, never showing pain. But real power is softness. Real power is vulnerability. Real power is having the courage to face your shadow and still choose light. It's being able to say, this hurt me, but it will not define me. I am not my wounds. I am the healing that followed. When you begin to heal, you start to attract differently. You stop chasing what drains you. You start aligning with what supports you. You begin to recognize that your value was never in your performance, your looks, or your achievements. Your value is in your being, in your essence, in the way you rise again and again, no matter how many times life tried to knock you down. You are powerful not because you've never fallen, but because you kept getting back up. You are powerful because you dared to feel, because you are brave enough to heal, because despite it all, your heart still loves, your spirit still believes, and your soul still whispers, there is more. This is your time. Not to become someone new, but to return to the truth of who you've always been. Release the pain, release the guilt, release the fear, and in their place, welcome peace, trust, and self-love. Feel what made you forget your power, and you will rise with a strength the world can no longer shake. You are not your past. You are the light breaking through it. And that light, your light, is unstoppable. So many people are looking outside of themselves for love, for comfort, for someone to complete them. They search in faces, in conversations, in fleeting connections, hoping to find that missing piece, the one that will make them feel seen, safe, and cherished. But here is the sacred truth. The love you seek is not out there. It begins within you. You must become the love you are so desperately looking for. No one else can fill a void you have not yet tended to yourself. If you do not believe you are lovable, no amount of affection from another can convince you otherwise. If you do not feel worthy, you will question every compliment, every act of kindness, always wondering if it's real. That is why healing begins with choosing to become what you crave. The affection, the safety, the deep presence, the unwavering support. You must give it to yourself first. To become the love you seek means holding yourself the way you've longed for someone else to hold you. Speaking to yourself with tenderness, not criticism. Showing up for yourself when life gets hard, instead of abandoning your needs to please others. You become your own soft place to land, your own biggest encourager, your own healer. You are not too broken, too much, or too far gone to begin this journey. Even if you've made mistakes, even if you've settled for less, even if you've been hurt over and over again, you are worthy of love right now, in this very moment, not because someone else says so, but because you exist, and that is enough. When you become the love you seek, your energy shifts. You stop chasing people who don't see your value. You stop begging for attention. You no longer accept breadcrumbs and call it a feast. You know what real love feels like because you've given it to yourself. And when you radiate that kind of inner love, the world responds. You attract people who match your self-worth. You draw in experiences that align with your self-respect. Start with the small things. How do you talk to yourself when no one is listening? How do you care for your body when you're tired? How do you soothe your heart when it's hurting? Do you offer yourself patience, or do you rush past your feelings? Do you hold space for your dreams, or do you silence them to fit in? Becoming love means tuning into the way you show up for you and choosing to do it with compassion and grace. You may not have had the example of unconditional love growing up. You may have learned that love must be earned or chased or sacrificed for. But today, you get to rewrite that story. You get to become the person you always needed. You get to stop waiting for someone to give you what you never received and give it to yourself now. When your inner world is full of love, your outer world transforms. You are no longer dependent on another to make you feel whole. Relationships become a space for shared joy, not a remedy for your emptiness. You stop settling, you start thriving. You start shrinking to be accepted. You start expanding because you finally accept yourself. You will still long for connection because that is human. But now, you won't mistake attachment for love. You won't confuse chaos for passion. You will choose peace over drama, truth over pretending, depth over superficiality. Why? Because you've tasted real love, the kind that starts within, and you will never again settle for anything less. Be kind to yourself as you grow. Healing is not always pretty. Some days you'll fall back into old patterns. Some days you'll feel lonely, even when you're loving yourself. That's okay. This is a journey, not a race. Every time you show up with a little more grace, a little more honesty, a little more love for yourself, you are becoming the love that calms your anxious thoughts, the love that forgives your past, the love that holds you on the days no one else does, the love that celebrates your wins. The love that celebrates your wins, your softness, your strength. The truth is, you were never missing anything. You simply forgot how whole you already are. And the more you remember, the more you embody love. The more the world reflects that love back to you. In people, in moments, in miracles. You don't need to search outside anymore. Look within. That's where the love you've been seeking has always lived. Nurture it, trust it, become it, and watch everything around you begin to bloom.